Welcome to Blockchain Recorded, the podcast for the tech curious, where we talk about anything and everything related to the exponentially evolving crypto, blockchain, and Web 3.0 space. Our mission is simple: to share knowledge, facilitate discourse, and help evolve education in blockchain fundamentals, decentralization solutions, and relevant use cases for today's digital economy. We at Blockchain Recorded are not registered investment advisors and do not deal with financial or trading token elements, nor offer any licensed financial services. The content of this podcast is for informational and educational purposes only, while the opinions of all parties involved are their own. I'm your host, Nina Tserar, and now let's talk blockchain. So before I introduce our guest today, I have a couple of brief updates for our community. We invite everyone to join us on Twitter Spaces, where we pre-stream each episode the day before it goes public on all major podcast platforms. For the platform list, visit our website, blockchainrecorded.com. This episode is dedicated to the Web3 Stronger Together ecosystem initiative and its first virtual summit, which took place between March 1st and March 4th, 2023 in Evveland's Metaverse, a virtual platform uniting several hundred Web3 leaders and thinkers, over 100 projects and speakers, and over 5,000 attendees from across the world. The purpose of Web3 Stronger Together, with which Blockchain Recorded is a proud media partner, is to demonstrate to the crypto community that the Web3 ecosystem is strong, solidary, active, and committed to furthering innovation despite the status of the market and nature of price speculations. It emphasizes the importance of fairness, inclusivity, diversity, and sustainability to furthering healthy Web3 fundamentals. The summit included many panel discussions with assigned topics, which Blockchain Recorded is redistributing in audio form. The 7th panel discussion on March 1st covered the topic of the rise in crypto gaming, namely how GameFi and Web3 are democratizing the industry and empowering the player. The speakers were Maurice Deus, the co-founder of Turu Global and crypto entrepreneur, and Adi Seidman, the CEO of Revel XYZ and longtime game developer turned entrepreneur. Interestingly, Adi created the online Matrix game from the well-known Matrix movie. The speakers discuss how Web3 and GameFi are improving the gaming industry with respect to building equity and shifting power and ownership to users. They further speak about mass adoption, how users can influence builders, the issue of maximalist behaviour, open-mindedness, and new sustainable GameFi business models, among other relevant topics. The following is the panel's discussion hosted by Laurent Perello, the leader behind the Web3 Stronger Together ecosystem initiative. We do apologize for potential audio drops due to choppy internet connections. We edited the recording to the best of our ability.
Welcome again for this panel discussion 7, the rise of crypto gaming, how GameFi and Web3 are democratizing, my French accent always. GameFi and Web3 are democratizing the industry and empowering player. I'm glad to welcome Adil, Maurice, and Maria, who should join in a second. So I would like first that you introduce yourself, guys, quickly. Adil?
Sure. My name is Adi Seidman. Thank you, Laurent, for having me. I'm a game developer turned entrepreneur. My original claim to fame is that I did the online game for the movie The Matrix back in 1999. And after that, multiple apps and businesses in the user-generated media space. I co-founded the world's first online karaoke, which was sold to Fox MySpace at the height of MySpace. And did YouNow live streaming app, which grew to about 120 million user sessions a month. In the past 5 years, been in blockchain, built a loyalty token business. And a year ago started Revel.xyz, which is social collectibles game. And that's, my Web3 happy space is the combination of my passion towards enabling consumers to express themselves through media, user-generated media, with my experience in blockchain coming together around social collectibles.
Welcome again. Maria is still facing some difficulties to join. We hope she will be able to join. So let's now dive deeper in the current topic. What is your current point of view regarding the situation of verism? What is you are excuse me the word, but a veteran like I am in my domain. What GameFi and Web3 are improving, how GameFi and Web3 are improving the gaming industry and help to better involve each one and everyone. What is the main difference in your point of view?
Well, what's amazing is that people are building equity in their digital existence and digital identity and through assets that are interoperable. And that's, a revolution. I think that what we're seeing right now is less interoperability and more, play to earn, and the initial value of the assets and the initial value in the utility within each silo of the services and the games that we're seeing in Web3. The next level of empowerment for users is indeed there's more interoperability is going to happen, where you can take your NFT and your asset, your gameplay thing, and move it between environments and really take advantage of your ownership. If you own a car and you move houses, you can bring your car with you. That's not always the case today, just because platforms are not as interoperable as they're going to be, at which point, there's a lot of advantages for the players, for the users, for the consumers, including, healthy competition between platforms in favor of users, more innovation, lower costs, and, removing any kind of switching costs, increasing the utility and the value of the assets that you own, and really shifting a lot of the power, so to speak, to the users. And that's a very, very good, promise of Web3 in general. And it's amazing to see the beginnings of that.
Maurice, what is your point of view?
Support that statement, but I would like to early in the development of Web3 and gaming that promise happen. So if you look at GameFi projects out there right now, it's still very standalone, but by the fact that if you look at blockchains, it's very, very focused on their own block. Promise of a multi-chain is still steps, I would say. A chain is a precondition to have that in between the different platforms and between the different achieve that utilization over different platforms and over different games. So GameFi will bring, but we still have a lot to take to get there.
I do agree, and I really try to convince our layer one builders to better cooperate, and because I think that mass adoption, we can't expect mass adoption without having a better multi-chain, cross-chain approach. It's for me one of the main points, facilitating moving your asset or NFT or collectible from one blockchain to another one in a really easy way. And for now, it's still a bit tricky. Apparently, Maria is in a plane and she faced some Wi-Fi issue. I hope she will be able to join. Adi, what should we, Web3 gaming industry, what should we focus on to really be able to talk about mass adoption point of view?
Well, first of all, you put this conference together and you call it Stronger Together. And that's a really good title in terms of setting the vision for the industry. And I think that, the breakthrough is going to come from a few smaller innovators who are going to introduce the interoperability, and from the consumers, from the users, from the players who will come to demand it. Meaning it's not just that the blockchains are not as interoperable as we all want to see them and they will be. It's also within each chain, the different games don't always recognize the contracts of the other games. They give advantage to their own assets, all kinds of, business decisions like that, which are understandable. But this all breaks down and goes away as soon as the consumers are starting to experience that value in the assets and in their social equity being transferable to anywhere that they go, and they bring the power with them to each platform. And so I think that it's going to come from the users who will get used to a new value proposition and will dictate to the platforms and to the blockchains of how they must behave in terms of being interoperable.
It's really interesting what you say. And so which advice could we give to all users, all people involved in Web3, in crypto, blockchain, whatever the word we use, to push builders to be more open-minded and more cooperative? I see, and it's the main goal of Web3 Stronger Together. It's to say it's far away from competition. It's about cooperation, collaboration, and we can't expect delivering this promise if we keep the same behavior and the same business approach. I mean, trying to lead the market, to dominate the market. I think we should engage more cooperation, and why not cross gaming approach. What is your point of view? How user can really influence builders concretely?
Yeah. And I let Maurice also take it, so I'll be brief on this one. And I will only say that it is in the advantage of the platforms and of the projects and of the game to appeal to players who already have assets in other games and to create utility for those assets, because you have a built-in distribution and a built-in user base as soon as you do that. And I think we're going to start seeing more and more of that. And that's where, the little crack in the wall starts.
Maurice, I know that to reverse, I'm lucky enough to get some premiere. I know that you have, by design, a multi-chain approach. What does it change in your, let's say, the technical roadmap and in your relation with users, and I want to say communities? We all know that in our industry, there is a lot of maximalists in each layer one ecosystem. And how do you face this, and how you are able to conciliate these different communities? What is your approach?
Yeah, so I think there are three. So one is the entry. So that's a big feature, but I think it's still road to travel before we get there. Features. One is the maximalist behavior, which is like a precondition to get to, and that's a very tough nut. Because what we have been doing, we started and now we are, let's say, engaging with different blockchain and multi-chain promise together to get engaged in other blockchain. Some of the blockchain maximalists see that you in a particular other blockchain immediately coming up because that, no, that's if you do that blockchain, I don't want to work with you. So that's a hurdle to come over. What needs to happen is, if you look at a lot of the GameFi trying to educate the users by saying, we developed, this is how it works, and you're happy to play it and to like it. And what is that GameFi projects actually listen to the user looking for, what do they want? And so I see a lot of projects who are building pre-made mindset that they're looking for, and then build accordingly. So, and after that first step, we need to maximalist behavior of certain blockchain to go into the interoperability of the assets, games and the game. And with that approach, we can slowly but steadily bring to the promised level where it should be in.
Thank you, Maurice. Adi, what is your point of view? Is it a real issue, this maximalism behavior in all layer one ecosystem today for mass adoption? And how can we, using in the GameFi segment market, how can we try to also change this mentality? It's Bitcoin maximalist, Solana maximalist, Ethereum maximalist, and so on. And I do confirm what Maurice just said. For some projects, it's really hard. Project who have a multi-chain approach, philosophy. As soon as they integrate one blockchain, they often lose user from other layer one. How can we solve this? What really should we do? How can we educate people to be more open-minded?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that the reality will look at the maximalists in the eye very soon. In a sense that, it's look, even we're seeing what Instagram, and Instagram is not really in our industry, but, they're investing tens of millions of dollars a year to allow people to mint NFTs on their platform, start to trade them, make collectibles, etc. They're educating hundreds of millions of people, not today yet, but, in the next 18 months about what it is. Those people don't care if it's Solana or if it's on Ethereum. They just want it to work. And I think that in that sense, what's called Web 2.5 is a real thing that is bringing users into the value proposition of Web3, even if it is not with a full custody and a full understanding and whatnot, but it's starting to create behaviors and facts on the ground with people. And, the maximalism behind the scenes is just the technology. It's just an empowering technology. The reality is, what is the value proposition tomorrow morning for regular users? And regular users really don't care about it. It is in the best interest of any serious player in the industry to be interoperable for obvious reasons. And, the maximalism here in this case is, maybe driven also by speculation, by, historical reality of people getting very rich and other things that are of the past.
Yeah, I do agree. And to go further in this particular point of view, there is some industry alliance emerging. We have a gaming industry, which is chain agnostic. Do you think we could see also kind of user gamers alliance that could push the pressure on project builders to be more open-minded and to better cooperate with our game and project?
Really interesting question. And now that you say it, there is no doubt. I mean, guilds, groups, all kinds, they can have power, just like labor unions. And they can say, hey, we want to bring our business to you, but here's what we need in order to do that. We actually like your game, but, we don't want to show up there and start at level 1. We want to bring our assets with us and benefit from, the social equity that we built.
So we could maybe recommend to gamers, people involved in GameFi, to put the pressure to create a DAO maybe, and to start to engage a discussion with a project, with builders, to force them or incite them to change a bit their mind, their business strategy, because I do think personally that it's useless to just copy paste the same business approach that we see outside in Web3. I constantly repeat that for me, it's the perfect moment to experiment new business model, new business philosophy, new behavior, and better focus on more focus on cooperation, not only between projects, but also with the end users who can take part in the design and the evolution of the game or the project. Maurice, how do you involve while you are building your Metaverse? How do you engage people to join, to support, without having something yet to deliver and to let them experiment? What kind of challenge it is, and what have you experimented to create this end user base before going live?
Yeah, well, that's a very tough challenge, of course, because as long as you don't have something tangible to show to the community, it's all about theoretical promises, right? So one of the things which we did is we had already a community available when we started to work on Metaverse, so that gives a little base. But I think, and also connecting to the Instagram example, which we just heard, which I think is a great example. If we look at blockchain in general, the group of users of blockchain, active users, not talking about the amount of wallets, but the amount of active users in all the communities, it's pretty small. So if you want to bypass this maximalist behavior, maybe you shouldn't fish in the little pool of crypto users, but you should fish in the bigger pool of gamers. So draw gamers to your solution, draw gamers to your games, and then when they are happy with the solution you give, with the platform you offer them, you can slowly and steadily convert them into crypto, rather than fishing in the little pool of crypto active users. And that's a little bit the approach which we do. So we have a little group of active users who know what we are doing, but we will start our Metaverse platform not only in blockchain, but in the bigger gamer communities, to draw in these type of people and then have them enjoy the game, have them enjoy our platform. And if they get interested about that little wallet in the upper right corner of our game, which is increasing in value and in size, they can choose to get interested in blockchain, and they can choose to educate themselves and become a crypto person rather than taking it from the other direction. And I think that's a little bit our philosophy here.
Thank you, Maurice. I also know that you have introduce a new GameFi business model, tokenomics, called We Earn, You Earn. Could you explain us what it is concretely? And then I'm curious to hear the point of view of Adi regarding this.
Yeah, sure. So if you look at a lot of the tokenomics for GameFi, it's what they call play to earn. But what happens in a lot of cases is that a token is created out of thin air, and when you play the game you earn this token, which is a very inflationary token. So in the beginning it seems like you're earning a lot, but the value depreciates over time because it gets overinflated. What we do is we build a platform which has a real revenue streams outside of the gamers. As we build a world where you can have web shops, you can put advertisements and all this kind of stuff, and we use that revenue to actually buy from the market our existing token, which is already at maximum supply, and we distribute that to the gamers. So this token, which we distribute to the gamers and to the residents of our Turuverse, this is a deflationary token because it's a text token, so it gets more rare over time, and we buy it from the market before we distribute it. So it's not dumped on the users, it's bought and distributed to the users and backed by real income. And that's the we earn, you earn philosophy, where we distribute part of our revenue to our users from an already existing token, which has already an existing value and is already at a full distribution supply. And I think that model, we kind of safeguard this protection against highly inflatable tokens, which are usually the base of the play-to-earn models.
Adi, what is your point of view regarding the different business model tokenomics we see in GameFi until now? Is it sustainable? Should we reconsider what has been done and learn our lesson to improve? I'm really excited to see Turuverse approach. We earn, you earn. For me, it's really, really fair and more sustainable than what we have seen recently. A lot of move to earn projects. For me, on the paper, it can't last. What is your point of view? We all know that for now, as our ecosystem is, we have to assume really restricted, small. The price action is really impacts really strongly the user adoption. How can we go further and how can we solve this to really engage for the long run and try to escape this high volatility, not only regarding the token price, but also, let's say, the user's retention?
Yeah, I think we're going through a classic cycle of experimentation in a new world and in a new business. User acquisition across the board is most important at the cost of sustainability, as you said. And this is exactly the right time for Maurice and Turo and others to say, hold on, we need better models. We need sustainable models. I think we see something similar also in the NFT marketplaces where, they're raced to the bottom to cut fees and find the new models, et cetera, and eventually they will land on something that is sustainable, and that industry will also become more mature, et cetera. I want to mention just, another model that we are doing at the, Revel.xyz, which is, effectively a social network where all the assets are ownable. We don't have a token. The tokens are the NFTs that users emit, the personal media that users publish. And through GameFi dynamics, we have what's called proof of demand minting, where you can't mint as much as you want. There is actually control over a healthy inflation in order to manage each person's supply at the healthy levels, at levels that engage, at levels that produce the best possible revenue for that person. If you have 5 million followers and I have 500 followers, we have totally different needs for our economic sustainability and the optimal balance points. How do you manage that for me, for you, and for the millions of people in between? And simplify that. And that's, an interesting conversation around models around SocialFi and social gaming And so, the models abound, and this is the type of experimentation. And I take my hat off to Maurice for what they're doing.
Thank you, Adi. I do agree. I constantly repeat that for personally, I think we are still at the experimentation stage, and we have to stay humble when we talk about mass adoption, because we are, in my opinion, far away from being really ready. Following this way, learning from the past, and trying to improve, trying to innovate, not just copy-paste what was successful for a short period of time to try to extract some value quickly, but rather being, one more time, having a long-term vision. Thanks a lot, Adil. Maurice, a last word before ending this panel discussion?
Well, I think it was very useful. I picked up some nice pieces of information in this panel discussion, which for sure we will bring back in our team discussion and see what we can do with that. So I'm happy that we had the opportunity to have this chat and this open conversation with the three of us. It's always good to talk to other people in the industry who have their own visions and their own ideas, because in every single conversation you pick up new things which can inspire you to make some tweaks or make some adaptations for your own project or a solution. So thank you for that. It was good.
Thanks to you, Maurice. It was one more time a pleasure. Adi, the last word for today.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
I will. Thank you very much. Yeah, I know we have to wrap, and it was really lovely to hang out with you guys, and I look forward to keeping in touch.
Thanks to you. It was my pleasure, and see you soon. Bye-bye. Keep building together.
Stronger together.
Yeah, stronger together. Bye-bye.
Thanks again to our guests, and thank you everyone for listening. Thanks also to the Bariam Music team for providing their music. You can check them out on bariammusic.com. All of the supporting information is on our website, blockchainrecorder.com. You can listen to us on Google, Apple, and Amazon podcasts, as well as on YouTube, Spotify, Radio Public, and Stitcher. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube, where we are super grateful for your support. Stay tuned for our next episode.